and of course many others for your read. So just make sure you get yourself a copy. Let's look at other stories here. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport was built for 7.5 million passengers. It is currently buckling under a 9 million, with a million more arriving every year. The government has set a deadline of June this year to break ground on a multi-billion shilling expansion, or risk losing its status as the region's aviation gateway. But the real challenge is the financing formula and developer hunt, as Kelly Bose now details.
The Kenya Airports Authority's new master plan is a survival strategy. With Ethiopia and Rwanda breathing down Kenya's neck, the goal is simple: modernize the airport into East Africa's premier aviation hub, or get left behind.
We plan to develop an airport that will take care of 22 million clients. We'll do it in one phase. The first phase being the development of a new airport, which will take 10 million clients. Will be shown, will be walked through the journey. But as we develop the new terminal, we will optimize the current terminal so that we are able to offtake the additional 4.5 million customers I've talked about.
Transport CS Davis Cheshire has unveiled a 70-30 financing formula: 70% debt, 30% equity. To make it work, the state is banking on the National Infrastructure Fund to crowd in heavy hitters like pension funds. While a private developer will shoulder the 70% debt, the government is scrambling to anchor the remaining 30% equity slice to entice the private sector. While the government is vague on the total cost of the project, the Adani proposal that fell off estimated the JKI expansion plan at around 206 billion Kenyan shillings. According to the Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Cheshire, while borrowing may be cheap, considering the 7 or 8% in interest rate, equity does come in expensive. This is the reason why the government will buy into the project, preferably 60% of the 30%, to encourage the private sector to chip in.
An equity requirement of 30% and the government putting in 60%, will need 40% to come from the private sector, to come from pension funds, to come from other sectors. And therefore, government would only be putting in 18%, and the 12% will be off-taken by the pension and other investors.
To hit the June target, the government is ditching the slow traditional PPP route for an EPC, engineering, procurement and construction model, which, according to the CS, is quicker and will ensure the project starts before the electioneering period.
So we've decided initially to do an EPC. EPC will basically be an open competitive procurement process under the PPDA. Will be quite quick, and we will be able to break ground by June of this year. But even then, we'll really have to work hasten and work pretty fast with everybody.
An EPC procurement is where a single contractor or developer assumes the full implementation of the project from designing to implementation. This contractor will be selected through a 2-envelope tender process. The first will have a handful selected based on their technical capacity, after which they will go through another round to gauge their financial muscle, where the best overall will be picked.
A fairly straightforward process that we all understand, and so much to defray the fears that is there anybody who we are targeting. We are targeting the best airport developers.
The urgency is purely political. CS Cheshire is blunt. If the ground isn't broken by June, the 2027 election cycle will kill the project's momentum. It's a desperate sprint against the clock and the ballot box to ensure JKI does not lose its wings. I'm Kelly Bose reporting for KTN.
Now, at least 74